Hello, thank you for returning. We're going to have a look at knowledge and understanding now, just to fill in the gaps of what we hopefully know. Now, water, as we know, can change from solid, liquid to gas state. So it has three different states. It's got solid, as we know, is an ice. Then we've got liquid, like a water in glass or a puddle on the ground. And then we've got a gas, so that's steam or water vapor. Now, we're also going to have a look at when a substance changes from a solid to a liquid. We call that melting point. But as we know, water can change when the temperature rises above zero from its ice state to its liquid state. We call that melting. Now, when a solid ice changes to a liquid at 0 degrees, we also call this melting. So that's just the temperature taking in and taking away, going in different directions. Now, just to define what a melting point is, it's any solid that changes to a liquid. As the temperature is increased and the solid gains energy, it then has enough energy to change state. Now, if we have a look a little bit further into this, we know that water continues to change to steam above 0 degrees. Now, some water changes to a water vapor, and this is known in science as evaporation. So as the water temperature increases, so does the rate of evaporation of the water. So again, as the temperature of the water increases, we put in more energy, we get to a point where the water starts to boil. So you see bubbles emanating from all different levels in the water. And this produces steam that goes directly into the air as water vapor. Now the water remains at a boiling temperature of 100 degrees until all the liquid has left. And when it does, then the temperature starts to rise higher to 110, 120, 130. We call this the boiling point of water. Now the next thing we'll look at is, what is boiling point? Now boiling point is defined as when any liquid changes to a gas. In terms of water, the liquid changes to a gas when it's at 100 degrees at the same time. So we call that the boiling point. Now the opposite is true in the changes of states of matter. When you go from solid, liquid to gas, if we take away the energy, we go from a gas to a liquid to a solid, we can decrease the temperature and change the state again. So we can go from gas to liquid and then to solid. Now steam is the substance when you cool water below 100 degrees, condenses, and if you cool below 0 degrees the water, we call that solidification, and we know it as ice. Now a few things I'd like to note for you is that evaporating is the opposite of condensing. So evaporating is when it gains energy from a solid to a liquid and liquid to a gas, and condensing is the opposite. It's starting to freeze. Okay, I'd like to note a few things. Firstly, evaporating is the opposite of condensing, and melting is the opposite of freezing. Freezing point of water is the same as the melting point of ice at 0 degrees Celsius. Now we're going to have a look at the changing state. We're going to look at melting or condensing. We're going to define this. Now melting occurs when a solid gains kinetic energy in the solid to gain more kinetic energy, and then it vibrates more. Now these vibrations cause the particles to move further apart, and the solid begins to expand to the point where it becomes a liquid. So the melting point of a solid is reached when the lattice structure fails, or they move far enough apart that they change to the next state. And I will show a diagram of that shortly in the next few minutes. So please have a look at that and I'll explain it a little bit further. So the question I'd like to answer for the final part in this short lesson is that, what is the difference between boiling and evaporation? Some of you may already know what the difference is, but here's a suggested answer of what the differences are. Now, boiling occurs when a liquid is heated and the particles vibrate faster and expand. Now, all the particles gain enough kinetic energy that every particle in the system reaches boiling point. And the boiling point liquid gains enough energy that it's able to change from the liquid state finally to the gaseous state. We call that water vapor. Now, different to evaporation, it's only when the particles in the solution have enough energy below its boiling point of that liquid, but they have enough energy to escape the liquid state to form a gas. Remember to click like or subscribe if you want to see any more of my future videos on chemistry. Thank you for listening.